Back then, there are enormous things that struggled and drove people into confusion. One of it is on how people access or manage their finances. Since we are talking about the early years, of course, they don't have the existence of technology yet. Like what other people say, the past will never be the same as the present. You may be wondering why am I talking about the past and present? And it's simply because we will now go over the history of credit cards, the physics behind it, and how it will benefit and help me in my future aspiration. Now, are you ready to discover the history and how credit cards evolved for the past years? As I begin, I will be mentioning the significant years only. Let's start with the ancient years. According to the Points Guy staff, during the ancient years, the Mesopotamian and Harappan civilizations used clay tablets to track trade. Back then, they only used clay tablets. In our modern society, it is now called as credit cards. When the era of the Babylonian Empire came, some of the first written rules regarding lines of credit appeared in the Code of Hammurabi. Moving on to the 19,000 to 1940s. In this period, there was an increase in credit as a payment form. A lot of department stores and gas stations started offering shoppers' plates to regular customers, and these metal plates were similar to the modern-day credit cards. Let's now proceed to the year 1950s, in which the Diners Club introduced the first charge card. The first multi-purpose charge card was said to be created by a businessman named Frank McNamara, who forgot his wallet when he was dining out in New York City and was embarrassed for what happened. A year after that, he came back to the restaurant and paid with the first cardboard Diners Club card. With McNamara's experience, he was able to co-found the first modern charge card. The year 1960s. As we go further, we can see that the history of credit cards have undergone so many changes. As I was saying, this year, the 1960s, is when the growth of credit card industry started. It was a major decade in the credit card industry. Next up is the year 1969. The IBM or International Business Machines have developed the magnetic stripe technology, which would take part in the evolution of credit card technology as a whole in the 1970s and beyond. As I have mentioned, the year 1970s is the period when credit cards evolved. It was a decade of improved regulation, advancement in technology, and the rebranding of some credit card networks into names that we recognize today. Moving on to the year 1980s, the year in which the travel and financial industry developed more, making it a competitive credit card issuers as they introduced new products. The 1990s, in which credit cards became high-tech that brought a big change in the world. As credit cards gained popularity around the world, fraud became one of the biggest problems. That's why the EMV or Europay, MasterCard and Visa chip technology was launched in Europe in the mid-90s. It is placed in credit cards that creates a unique transaction code for each purchase to mitigate the risk of fraud. Lastly, the year 2000s, or also known as the golden age of credit cards. The competition has started that made issuers step up their game and make credit cards more rewarding than ever. They have introduced new reward programs, bonus spending categories, unique card benefits, and all-time high welcome bonuses. Now, let's talk about the physics behind credit cards. Are you aware that there is an involvement of physics behind credit cards? If you are not, then allow me to provide all the essential details about it. If you can still remember, I have mentioned earlier about mag stripes, or also known as magnetic stripe. Over the past few decades, mag stripes have been very essential in magnetic card technologies. The year 1970 is when mag stripes were established for credit cards. What is the precise meaning of mag stripes? According to Thesaurus, magnetic stripe is the narrow black or brown stripe on the back of credit cards. It is made up of iron-based magnetic particles in a plastic-like film. A type of metal used for mag stripes can either be iron oxide or ferrite, and is ground up into a fine powder, then combined to a plastic type of material in a liquid consistency. Afterwards, the solution hardens and is either laminated or stamped onto a card. Types of magnetic materials used for credit cards have different coercivity. Coercivity measures the resistance of a magnetic material to becoming magnetized. High coercivity mag stripes contain information that are not easy to remove, and they have a practical use for cards that need a long life. While the low coercivity mag stripes are easier to encode information and erase information on. Did you know that there are few laws about magnetism that controls how voltage, current, and magnetic fields are related? Magnetic fields, or also called as B fields, is created at all points surrounding a moving electric cord. Let's go over with the laws. The first one would be the Biot-Savart law. It is a law which describes how a steady electric current creates a magnetic field, followed by Faraday's law, a basic law of electromagnetism that pertains to how a magnetic field will react with an electric circuit in order to produce an electromotive force. And lastly, the Ohm's law, a law that calculates the value of resistors required in circuits, and can also be used in determining the current flowing in a circuit wherein the voltage can be measured easily across a known resistor. According to Rodak, in the world of business, credit cards can make life much more convenient and easier. Business credit cards offer a range of extra benefits of high spending power, helps a lot in tracking of your expenses, and gives you more generous rewards. And that's how credit cards started, the physics behind it, and how useful it is not only in business but also in society. Thank you for watching.